Hi everyone, and welcome to the October 2022 garden tour. I'm not sure I did a garden tour in October last year, but I took a look at the forecast. It's October 20th now, and it looks like we're expecting our first frost in 2 days. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to take one final look around before the garden goes to sleep for the winter. So here we are in the hydrangea room, and I just love all the antique fall hues that the hydrangeas bring to the garden. Beautiful dusty greens, deep mauves, really exciting rose colors. But there's just something about these fall hydrangeas that gives the whole garden kind of an antique, vintage feel, if you will. So there's not too much blooming in the hydrangea room right now. Just a few diva dahlias, a little sprinkling of foxglove here and there, some salvia. But you can see here that we do have the cup and saucer vine, and it did finally make its way all the way over the arch. And it's blooming all along the vine, and it's so beautiful. We'll definitely have to grow this again next year. And you can see here's what they look like once the flowers pop off. I'll have to do some research on how to save seeds from cup and saucer vine, because I didn't get too many seeds in the packet, and it would be really nice not to have to purchase any again in the coming years. So before we head through Hummingbird Way, let me show you my favorite view in the garden. Right here, just looking through all these gorgeous hydrangeas. Strawberry Sundae hydrangea right there in the forefront of your screen. Invincible Spirit is the one that's green right now. Firelight Tidbit, Mini Mauvette. But mainly I just love all the different textures and colors. And I love how it changes as the season progresses. So now that we saw that, we can head on through Hummingbird Way. I just picked up a few pumpkins from a local farm stand. I gave myself a strict $10 budget, and I promised myself not to overdo it on pumpkins this year and to save up for what I think we're going to need, which is a lot more evergreen interest. If you see these Panicle Hydrangeas here on the left of your screen, I picked those from our really big limelight kind of near the driveway garden, and I just put them in buckets and placed them around. There's a lot of holes on the left side of the hydrangea room just because it's so young. So let's travel through these arches now. I got the idea for this archway from Sarah Raven's newest book called A Year Full of Flowers, I think. I'll link it below because it's my absolute favorite book that she's ever written. Here's a diva dahlia down here, and you see some of that foxglove. But as I turn us this way, you can see what the cup and saucer vine looks on this side of the arbors. Isn't that lovely? I did lose one vine about, I guess, a month ago, and that was sad, but I'm trying to train the second arch to move on to this first arch here. All the apples have been harvested now. But all in all, I feel like the hydrangea room has taken on a really nice shape this first year. Definitely still lots more work to be done and lots more growth to enjoy as the years go on. But for year one, I'm really, really happy with where this garden is, and I'm excited for what the future holds. So let's head into the main flower walk now. We're greeted by some more of that beautiful raspberry cream gomphrena. After this, I want to pick a bunch of that and try to make Grace a flower crown and see if she'll keep it on her head. But here's a look at how the main flower walk is looking in fall. Definitely I'll be planting this rockin' deep purple salvia again next year. I don't grow too many annuals that you would buy from the store in pots, but this was totally worth the investment. bees and the hummingbirds just love it. And I think it's just wonderful how it pairs with the orange foliage on the serviceberry this time of year. And then that tiny Y9 bark on the side there, bringing in that deep, deep maroon, almost black color. You know, I just absolutely love black foliage and black flowers, my all-time favorite. I really want to try to walk really slowly through this area and just try to stay maybe forward focused, and I think that might help my camera stay in focus better. But before we do that, let me just move us down real slowly here to see the gomphrena, because it's just oh so beautiful. And it will be time to say goodbye in just 2 days' time. If you're on the fence about raspberry cream gomphrena, I think the seed is a little bit more expensive since it's a newer variety. I personally thought it was worth it. I see Rocky's coming to join us, so we should be seeing him in just a moment. I don't think that this seed dahlia was blooming the last time that we toured the garden together, but there are some white seed dahlias in bloom. And you know, at this point in the season, I'm kind of just letting everything lay as it will. I had tried to stake up these really tall dahlias nice and straight, but you know, I think I'm ready to just kind of let things go, see what happens tonight. We're going down to 34 tonight, so I have a feeling I'll probably lose my elephant ears tonight, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and dig them up, and then we can replace them with some gorgeous alliums and daffodils and all kinds of beautiful things to enjoy in the spring. Definitely this diamond head elephant ear was another bulb worth the investment. It's a really big bulb, but I don't think it was too much money. Next year I think I'll go ahead and invest in maybe 7 of them altogether. I have 3, and I was trying to get some repetition with the elephant ears here in the garden, and I think I just need a few more to top it all off. Let's get one final look at these gorgeous seed dahlias before we have to say goodbye for the year. If this was shorter, I would definitely dig it up, but it's easily 6.5, 7 feet tall. It's just a little bit too tall for me, but it's so beautiful. And it's just been pumping out the blooms nonstop all season, and no disease problems at all on these seed dahlias. Isn't it funny how that goes sometimes? Definitely having issues on my big, decorative dinner plate dahlias, but not at all on these seed dahlias. So as we make our way along, we'll see some more seed dahlias that we've seen before in the past, so I don't think I'll spend too much time on them. This area over here needs a major overhaul. I really do like the way this area looks in spring and summer, but come fall, it just looks a little too relaxed, even for my taste. And I'm a pretty laid-back gardener when it comes to how things look. I just love growing things. That's where it's at for me. Growing from seed, propagating. For me, that's what gardening is all about. So here's another seed dahlia, and these are just so tiny and dainty. I don't think I'll save that tuber either, but it really was a joy to grow. And friends, I'm going to attempt to save dahlia seed this year from lots of different varieties, and I'll take you along and show you how I go about doing that. And then we'll plant them up together next year in the $5 garden, and we'll see what we end up with. We'll have some of our own dahlia seedlings that we've saved to enjoy. Oh, I should probably point out something, and I would love to get your input on this. This is the Proudberry Coralberry, and if you grow this and you're in a very wet climate like myself, can you please let me know if your berries get brown like this? I'm curious to know if this is going to be an all the time issue, or if it's just kind of a fluke situation I have going on over here. If that's the case, that they always brown in a really wet environment, I think I might move them somewhere a little less central. So we come upon a lot of fall foliage now. There in the distance you see a burning bush, and what's covering the burning bush right in front of us is exotic love vine. And let me get a different angle on it. So I hope you can see that it's just absolutely covered, or should we say smothered, my burning bush, which is a-okay by me. I've underplanted this burning bush with some oak leaf hydrangeas, since the burning bush is an invasive species here in my zone 6B, southern Pennsylvania. I want to replace that with oak leaves as soon as possible. But check out the awesome foliage here on Amsonia come fall. Isn't that a beautiful color? Look at that, so vibrant. It's like the sun is shining down on us. And so just a lot of nice textural colors here in the fall. You can see, even though my garden is a full-on cutting garden, as we come to the end of the season, we pretty much cut all the flowers, friends. So let's take a look at how all the raised beds are doing and get an update on the cool flowers. You can see a lot of the beds here are in transition. I ripped out all of the zinnias that were back here. There were also some foxy foxglove here. Those have moved over to the driveway garden, and I can't wait to show you how that looks. I think it's going to be really beautiful in spring over in the driveway garden. Now, I think a fail for this year was the Thunbergia up the bamboo poles. Some of them climbed all the way to the top, but none of them ever seemed really healthy. None of them really flowered profusely. It really wasn't what I was expecting. And so next year, I'm definitely going to grow something from seed up these posts, and I'd love it if you have any suggestions. Preferably something that's good for cutting. And I also want to add kind of this same entranceway to the back beds as an exit to this garden also. So we'll have some more areas where we can grow things vertically. Now we need to take one final look at the dahlias. I suppose not too many remain this time of year. Definitely also something I need to do next year is put stone right up against these raised beds and then bring the planting beds forward, because I had a really hard time. You can see I was crushing my gomphrena as I was harvesting the dahlias, so that was a big mistake on my part. Always learning and growing, right? But let's take one final look at each and every one of these dahlias. So here we have the absolutely beautiful labyrinth, so stunningly gorgeous. If I move us slowly down from her, we'll come to Sweet Love, a beautiful pink dahlia. Right next to Sweet Love, we have an anemone dahlia called Lifestyle. We have Myrtle's Folly here, Melina Fleur. And then what was really interesting was the Creme de Cognac is taking on a little more of a yellow hue. They're kind of all mixing together now. Like this is Melina Fleur, that's just kind of fallen over next to Creme de Cognac. But they're all beautiful, great colors. My plan for next year in terms of dahlias is to do 4 raised beds of dahlias. I want to lean really heavily into perennials, bulbs, and I think my sunflower successions are going to get a little bit less next year. So here we have the beautiful Mexican bush sage. It feels just like velvet. If you've never grown this before, I would highly recommend it. A lot of people ask me where to get the seeds for this. I always grow it. It's in the herb section very early in the season, and the plants will be really small. So just check for it there. It should only cost you about maybe $1.50. And then right next to the Mexican bush sage, we have a purple feather celosia, which got much taller than I had anticipated, and an amazing color for fall. So in the raised beds, I have that other round of honeywort that we planted together. We probably planted this in mid-July, and it's blooming now. Now let me give you a close look at how all the cool flowers are looking and what stage of growth they're at currently. So here we have bachelor's buttons. Here we have nigella. Some Orlea here. Here we have larkspur. Here we have Iraqi, Sweet William, Scabiosa, Dara. And this is a bed of nigella that I sowed in the middle of the season that got attacked really bad by either a tarnished plant bug or some type of a sucking insect. So I'm just gonna go ahead, let it bloom. Hopefully it'll have time to go to seed, maybe, maybe not. Drop the seed hopefully, and hopefully we'll just have an area of nigella over here. Definitely kind of, I don't want to say a fail because, you know, pest problems, they just happen, but that's kind of why you never saw me harvesting this bed of Nigella, because I had a pretty serious insect problem over here. You know, friends, before we leave back here, I thought let's take another look at these dahlias because I probably will lose them all tonight or tomorrow for sure. But friends, look at that Myrtle's Folly. Beautiful. So Myrtle's Folly bloomed for me a lot later than all the dahlias. Here's another one. I think if I keep touching them, we'll stay in focus. Let's try that. Oh, do you hear the geese above us? And then here we have Sweet Love. Sweet Love, of all the ones I grew this year, is my favorite one to dry because it turns from this beautiful pink color to a white and purple color. Aren't they beautiful? Oh, broke one off. That's okay, we'll take it inside and dry it. I always feel like right when I know that the first frost is coming, do you guys remember that book from our childhood, or maybe you read it to your kids too? I think it's called Goodnight Moon. I feel like there needs to be a garden version of Goodnight Moon. I always get really sentimental these last few days I have with my garden, and I kind of feel like walking through the garden and just saying goodnight or, you know, goodbye to everything that we grew this year. I'm afraid I'm far too sentimental for my own good. But let's head over to the driveway garden now. I'll show you the other cool flowers that are over there and also the foxglove I moved. So the main thing I did over in the driveway garden since you saw it last is that I moved all of these foxy foxglove over here. They had just randomly popped up in a raised bed, and I've had a really great experience the second year with foxy foxglove. This is one of the foxgloves that's annual foxgloves that'll bloom for you the first year, but what I've found personally is when you leave it in the ground, it gives you an absolutely ginormous stalk next spring. So I was hoping to bring that spring interest over here into the driveway garden. There's also lots more other cool flowers in here. I'm not sure this will be interesting for everybody, but if it's your first time, maybe it's helpful to see what some of these seedlings look like. That one right there that looks kind of like parsley is our feverfew. And then look at this, friends. My campanula finally germinated. I guess I just should have started it a lot earlier because this is how big they ended up being, and I started everything around the same time. So we'll see what happens. I'll be absolutely shocked if these overwintered, but here they are. At least I got some to germinate. And then probably the only other thing you didn't see last time was that Cornell has really started to pump out the blooms now. A really nice view of Cornell here back underneath the Coosa dogwood tree. Starting to take on that park feel. Plenty of room for improvement, but a good start. And I don't think Gracie's garden has changed at all since you saw it, but there it is on the left. So, good night, Gracie's garden. I sure will miss ya. Well, friends, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the October 2022 garden tour. I definitely want to take this opportunity to just send you all my sincerest, my very sincerest thanks for watching my videos. It's just such a pleasure to be able to share my garden with you, and just the fact that you're so kind and loving and compassionate and giving with information towards me. Being in a gardening community with each and every one of you has blessed me more than I could ever say in words. So friends, I want to wish you a wonderful day out there in your gardens. I'm going to get a whole bunch of harvest buckets. Oh, there's Rocky, how sweet. I'm going to get a whole bunch of harvest buckets and get things picked before tonight's cold temps and tomorrow's frost. And I will see you sometime very soon. Rocky and me say bye.